Oh, wow. Okay, so only 3 of you. Great. Beautiful. The beautiful thing is that anybody can be a CG host. Honestly, even a kid. Like, you guys could just like each have your own community group with just some of your friends from the neighborhood. You know what I mean? Honestly, they don't have to be a part of our church. You don't even have to be a part of our church, a member of our church to be a CG leader, a CG host, a community group host. So we're going to talk about all of this in a second and how powerful and important this is. What's that? The new series is on the power to produce wealth. It comes out of Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 18, and it says, "For it is the Lord your God who gives you the power to produce wealth." So we're going to focus on that for 6 weeks. Jenny, my daughter was so sad that we didn't make it to the King's baby shower yesterday. And you know why? Because you and your kids were there. She didn't say nothing about nobody else. But when she heard you guys were there, she was brokenhearted. How we doing? Yes. Okay. Got it. Luke, I'm your father. Testing 1, 2, 3, microphone check. There we go. Testing 1, 2, 3, microphone check. Good afternoon, Joanna. How are you? I'm doing very good. I'm missing my wife. When she's gone, I feel free as a bird for 24 hours. You know, the older I get, though, the shorter that time period gets. Used to be I felt free as a bird for a week. Yeah. It's like the house feels completely empty without her there. It just feels like, why do we need this house if she's not here? You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just not right. And she's not coming home till September 8th. Exactly. I got the food thing down, though. You know what Alethea and I are living on is pulled pork. So I bought this humongous pork shoulder, and I cooked it in a Dutch oven, and it just made the best pulled pork ever. And Alethea loves it. I pick her from school. I'm like, what do you want for dinner tonight? Go home and make me pulled pork. And she wants it every single day. So she ate that every day this last week, and we finished it. And she goes, let's go buy another one. So we went to the store yesterday. I bought another one. We're going to go home, and I'm going to cook it tonight. I know, right? Yeah, so I reverse sear it. First, I put the rub all over it, then I reverse sear it, and then I bake it at 250 for 6 hours. And it just pulls. It's just so tender. And then Alethea loves when I make her sandwiches. I make sandwiches with grilled sourdough. And I did not make the bread, but I did make pizza last night. And I made the dough for the pizza. But I just watched a whole bunch of YouTube channels. And I have my sourdough starter that I feed every night. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it takes 2 days to make. It takes a minimum of 48 hours. But it's better if you take 3. No. I did for a while, but I just started again.
I'll send you my same-day discard sourdough starter pizza crust.
Is it good? Same day? Okay. Sourdough waffles? Idiarababasa. Hallelujah. Oh, that sounds good to me. Why don't you guys come over? Let's do a waffle day. Let's do a waffle night. Waffles for dinner. Let me know when we're live. I love sourdough pancakes. For sure. But with my sourdough pancake batter, I always make it the night before and then just leave it in the fridge overnight.
I alternate. Sometimes when I use it the night before, it gets too vinegary. So when I put soda in, it just poops up and it shrinks down. Or if I do it the same day, it seems to slower.
Even if you put it in the fridge overnight?
No, I just leave it at the counter.
Yeah, so when I do it overnight, I leave. Gatherings and hearing the teaching, to the fellowship, that was the small group meeting, to the breaking of bread, which was service to one another, and to prayer, right? Growing in your personal spiritual life. So what we see in the early churches, they did two things. They had large group meetings and they had small group meetings. In the large group meetings, they heard the teaching of the apostles. In the small group meetings, they helped one another understand what they heard, and they got to individuate that teaching, each of them, to their lives. Now, about 2 to 3 times a year, probably going forward, we're going to do it 2 times a year. We do a series where we actually print a booklet, and we give a physical booklet to everyone that you can use in your small group meeting that basically provides small group exercises so that each and every one of you can individuate, really each and every one of us, because I do small groups too, can individuate the teaching to you personally. And so often, you can hear a teaching, you can hear a sermon, and it impacts your life, but you actually need a small group of people to process with so that you can fully understand precisely how deeply that message applies to your life. But you also need a group of people to walk with consistently and continually to keep processing that so that they can hold you accountable to the things that you hear, to the things that the Lord speaks to you about. Now, this fall, I'm really, really excited about the process that we're going to go through. The series is going to be, I'm still working on a formal name for the series, but it's going to be about the power to produce wealth. The power to produce wealth. And it comes from Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 18. And Moses says, "For it is the Lord your God who gives you the power to produce wealth." Now, I don't know about you, but if God is giving out power to produce wealth, I would love to receive some of that. Can I get a witness? And so it's going to be of utmost importance that you are in a community group for this process because you're going to be able to individuate what this means for your life and be encouraged in your journey, because it can be a very discouraging journey sometime. And so I'm thankful to each and every one of you who have responded. Now, I want to reiterate that anyone can be a community group host. Anyone can be a community group host. You don't have to be a leader in the church. You don't have to be a member of the church. You honestly don't even have to be a strong Christian. You simply have to be willing to be a community group host, and you have to find some folks who are willing to come to your house or to your meeting place for community group. That's really it. If you're willing to be a host and people are willing to come be hosted by you, you are a community group host. That's it. We will give you all of the materials. You will not have to do any preparation. You will not have to do any studying to prepare. You're not teaching, you're just hosting. And hosting is 4 things. H is you're opening up your home. O is you're opening up your heart. S is you're providing a light snack. And honestly, in your community group, you guys can rotate that and do that like on a rotation. And then T, you're simply investing a consistent time to meet together as a community group. The workbooks literally will do the rest of the work for you. The workbooks will tell you exactly the steps to take as you go through your community group session. And so I truly believe that this fall, as we enter into this series, it's going to be a powerful time of bringing people together. And we're going to see like chains fall. I think the beginning, the series that we did leading up to Easter, the Unstuck series, was kind of a beginning for people. But this is going to be the next step. So folks got unstuck leading up to Easter, but now you're going to break through and really begin to lay hold of that power to produce wealth. And we're also going to situate it correctly. I know a lot of people get really concerned when I say that. We're going to talk about the power to produce wealth, and people say, oh, so is this the prosperity gospel now? You know, is this like the health and wealth gospel now? No, of course not. It's not. But it's also not the poverty gospel. You know what I mean? It's also not the sickness and poverty gospel. And so often we're so afraid of the prosperity gospel that we don't talk about prosperity. We don't talk about blessing. And so we're going to be talking about how the Lord wants to bless you, but we're also going to be situating it within a very coherent and clear biblical framework so that we understand what God is saying to us and how to move forward. And I have just been enthralled in my preparation for this series and writing the workbook, and I've already written the first 2 sermons and got outlines for the third. I'm just really, really excited for what God is going to do. Amen? All right, for the remainder of our time, I'd like to open it up for any questions that any of you might have, and I'd like to do my best to provide you with answers. This is going to be a 6-week series. Starts on September 11th, so it's going to be 4 weeks. September 11th, 18th, 25, and then the first 3 Sundays in October. So it's going to go towards the end of October. Yeah, so we'll definitely have PDFs available, and what we'll probably do is make it available on Amazon so that those who can't pick it up can just order it from Amazon. It'll be like $5 or something, and Amazon will print it and deliver it directly to your home. So we're going to make it really, really easy to get. Mm-hmm.
Can we split up like hosting and leading coordination roles?
Absolutely. So once again, the host is not necessarily the leader, right? The host just opens up their home and opens up their heart and shares a snack and commits the time. But you can actually have different people facilitate the meeting however you want. And honestly, you don't even have to do it at the same place. Like if you have a group of 5 people or 6 people, you could do it, rotate each place for 6 consecutive weeks if you want. Like you could do whatever you want, honestly. You can do it however you want, whatever makes the most sense for you. Do you have to meet in person? No, you do not. You can meet on Zoom. And some of you that are joining us online, you're going to have Zoom groups, and that's totally, totally fine. Yes, it could be a hybrid too. You can meet in person and then you can meet on Zoom, or half of you can be on Zoom and the other half of you can be in person. Yep, whatever works best for you all. Anyone else? What it looks like after the 6 weeks is over is you will have the opportunity to either continue meeting with your group, to take a hiatus for a while and come back together again. We have a few other processes already that you can choose from and say, we're going to go through this. But what we hope is that you forge long-term relationships with one another and just keep meeting. Also, what we plan to have available after the series is over is weekly sermon-based processes for the groups, that you can just get the email of the PDF of the process for this week, and then you can just go through it with your group to make it easy for you to keep meeting. And so, by the way, Joanna and Keone are our directors of community groups. They direct our community group ministry. And so you can also approach them and ask them any questions, and they're working hard behind the scenes to make sure that the process is as seamless as possible. And so that's exciting.
What is the format that we're going to do as far as having people join? So we're going to do an online thing, or we're going to have a setting where they can all have meet the community hosts? Like how are we doing that?
Yeah, so we're actually, did you want to speak to that? So we're still working on that piece, the precision of it we're still working on, but it's going to be, we want to do it very similar to the way we did Unstuck, where groups form and we just sign up the groups, in the lobby after services. And some groups are going to keep forming even after the series starts. We want people to feel free. Even 3 weeks into the series, start your group and start at week 1 today, because I'm going to have videos available that are not necessarily tied to the sermons. So you can just go through those 6 videos, those 6 short videos in every meeting, and go through the series that way very, very easily. Mm-hmm. Sorry, can you say that into the microphones so the online people can hear?
We're trying to have the signups via on the website a little bit more easier to access. So we're working with our web admin, and we'll probably have those available. So we'll probably be reaching out to each one and one of you if you can host, just for like your pictures and description, so people can know a little bit more about your group just to sign up. And then you can respond to them if your group is available, taking on new members or not.
So will that email go directly to the host, or will that be something you communicate as far as like if someone wants to join your group?
So what you mean, the email to?
Is like, for example, if someone saw our group and was like, oh, this is a group that we would like to join, would they email you? Or would you email, like, how would that?
So we're trying to integrate Planning Center to it, so the email would directly go to you, but we would see that as well, but we would hope that you would respond, and then we would check in with you. Hey, did you respond to this person? It looks like they're interested in joining your group. Yeah, so we're trying to cut the middleman. I think in the past it was like someone connect and doing that, but we're trying to make it a bit more flexible, fluid, yeah.
Cool, any other questions? Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if we go back to the beginning, the way it works is if you want to be a community group host, first you just try to create your own group. Like you call 4 or 5 of your friends, say, hey, I'm starting a community group. It's a 6-week process. My pastor's teaching on the power to build wealth. Would you like to join me? I'm thinking of doing it on Thursday nights at 4 or 5, right? And so, you create your group, and then once you create your group, we have a process where you register your group on our website. You just let us know, I created a group, here are the names of the people who are in the group, here's where we're going to meet, Thursday nights, 6 p.m. Zoom, right? So now that goes into our database. Now if somebody comes to our website and says, I want to join a group, and I'm interested in that Thursday night, 6 p.m. online group, now that your group exists, that email goes to you and says, hey, somebody wants to join your online Thursday night group on Zoom. Sorry, Pastor Jamerson just asked me to reiterate the questions, and I meant to do that from the beginning, but I didn't. But this gentleman was just asking more about the process of how the individual community group hosts will be contacted if somebody indicates online that they want to join your group. Does that make sense? Joanne is going to say something.
And then also, David, specifically for your question, if like you had a previous group that you're meeting with and maybe there's no host or whatnot, you're planning on hosting it, you can reach out to those members as well. Like, hey, this Thursday still work for you? And then that would be on the website. And then there would be additional members who could be interested, who would be wanting to join as well. But in terms of Zoom link, you could use like Google Hangouts. That's available for free. There are some Zoom accounts available for certain times. Is it still available? So I think it'd be personal basis. Like if you have your own Zoom account, you could use that. If not, Google Hangouts is free, so you can use that as an online link. No time limit on Google Hangouts.
The problem with the free Zoom accounts is that there's a 45-minute time limit.
Google, I think, they might have added a 1 hour recently.
Oh, did they? John is saying Google Hangouts is now a 1 hour time limit.
Well, an idea for that, like our group, we split the fee so that we have the prime,
Oh.
premium, whatever it's called,
The premium Zoom?
premium Zoom. And so we just split it $8 each. So
Awesome. So
maybe different with what they want to do, but
Brienne says the members of her community group split the cost of a professional Zoom account, and it costs $8 for each of them. So, oh, okay. Oh, two groups got together and said, we're going to and because they have meetings on different nights, so they didn't need two extra accounts. Google Hangout is 1 hour. That's true. Facebook is unlimited, Keone says. Facebook Messenger. That's cool. What about FaceTime? You can do a multiple FaceTime grouped if everybody has an iPhone. The conversation is, can you share your screen using Facebook? And the answer is yes, you can. Pastor Jamerson, are there other questions from the online, those of you who are watching online? Let me see. Are there any other questions from you? Nope. The question was, is there a maximum number of people who can join a community group? And the answer is no. If 12 people want to be in your group, you can have 12 people in your group. If 15 people want to be in your group, you can have 15 people in your group. Now, here's the key, though. What we would love to see happen is, let's say there's a pop-in group, and it's got 15 people in it, and everybody's excited. What would be awesome is if 3 or 4 of you would actually just jump out and say, we're going to start another group. So keep the group going. Now you got 12. Us 3 are going to start 3 new groups, and now one group became 4 groups. You know what I mean? Like, if we keep the growth going. However, I also understand the value of a long-term relationship. Like, that's beautiful as well. Like, maybe you want to keep your group together, and maybe your group will stay together for years, and it will be like long-term relationships. The only thing I'd say is if somebody breaks out of your group, don't be offended. Sometimes it might even be your leader who will bounce and say, the Lord's calling me to start a new group.